Well, hello there. If you were expecting Jonathan Bastards, the host of the Old Bastard News, to be hosting this, sadly he won't, as this is a tribute, and I personally felt that I needed to do it myself. And surely there are many videos out there who will be made to honour this man, some to gain views. Sadly, that's the way YouTube is and the way social media is. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to gain views at all, or subscribers, or any of that garbage. I'm actually here to pay tribute to a man that I greatly admired, and I can say underrated, as I always personally felt that his work was never fully appreciated. He had several claims to fame through several of these films that he would appear in, but he also appeared in many lower class, B-class films, as many people would call them. But he never put a bad performance in, and he will be truly missed. So yeah, this is dedicated to the man himself, Rutger Hauer. So first of all, I want to talk about one of the most underrated films from Rutger Hauer, and to be honest, one of the most underrated films that there is, really. Only marred by its terrible choice of music, and if you can guess what that film is, well then, yeah, you guessed it, Ladyhawke. Directed by Richard Donner, of course, who did classic films such as Superman, the original, not the terrible Man of Steel, The Goonies and Lethal Weapon, all of the Lethal Weapon franchises. But here he decided to try and duplicate the rock-style music from Highlander, which of course, if you've seen, Freddie Mercury and Queen did all the music for that. And with Ladyhawke, the film but the music, it's really gut-wrenching. It really takes you out of the film itself. But you cannot take anything away from Rutger Hauer in this film. He proved in this what a leading man he could be, and sadly he didn't get many roles like this where he could actually show off his leading potential. Of course, in this you get Michelle Pfeiffer, who is absolutely stunning in this. She's gorgeous, and once again just shows how great of an actress she actually is. But yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely check out Ladyhawke, and it's a film that begs to get remade. And if they ever want to remake a movie, stop remaking good ones. You know, Ladyhawke, not that it's a bad film, but it's begging for a remake, you know, and it could be a great tribute to Rutger Hauer if they did that. Blind Fury. This is a complete guilty pleasure of a film for me. I saw this movie many times as a kid growing up. Yeah, sadly it gets labelled with a B-class kind of level of film, and you know, and it kind of is. It sort of is a B-class kind of movie, but Rutger Hauer, no matter what film he's in, B-class, C-class, A-class, he always performs at an absolute A-plus level. And in this, he plays a character called Nick, who is a blinded war veteran who returns back home to America so he can forgive his best buddy and war mate who abandoned him during this firefight that happened. And during this time is where he lost his sight. But of course, nothing is ever as simple as that in these kind of movies. It gets involved in a crime drug syndicate, and Blind Fury is a perfectly toned film of action comedy. It's one of those ones, if you love a good action film, but you like the comedy side on it, kind of like a Rush Hour, you know, without Chris Tucker, of course, it has that kind of vibe to it. Every single second that Rutger Hauer's on the screen, he just completely steals it. Did I mention his character Nick is blind? But not only blind, he carries a cane that has a hidden sword in it. Yes, that he was used to train while recovering from his blindness, and he kicks some ass with it. So yeah, there's also that to add to it. So yeah, Blind Fury, check it out, people. So speaking of B-class level films, it's hard to go past the B-class film tribute itself in Hobo with a Shotgun. It's insane, crazy, extremely violent, and what it claims to be. It's a hobo with a shotgun. Played again, once perfectly again, by Rutger Hauer, who just oozes out grumpiness and grouchiness of that old homeless man, and he literally just fills these shoes of the character so perfectly well. But if you're not someone who likes a bit of a strange, definitely a strange film, or an ultra-violent movie, then yeah, you might want to skip this one. But if you're after like a good indie B-level, you know, horror film in a way, it's got lots of violence, definitely check it out. Another couple of films, Wedlock, Sin City, The Hitcher, another few of his little gems in his library of work that I won't go into many of the plot details because the video will just go on forever and ever and ever, and I don't want to kind of get off topic. Many of you would probably recognize Rutger from Batman Begins, which, as good as that film is and as good as his part was in it, I always personally felt he was underused. I would have liked to have seen him play the role of Falcone, which of course is the mob boss. And there's nothing wrong with the performance of Falcone in it. He just really plays it as a Oh, see, take him to the outback and shoot him, see? It's over top as a gangster. It's just typical gangster shit. And, look, I would like to have seen if Rutger Hauer have played that performance, but, sadly he didn't, so that never happened. And, maybe it's just me. Nighthawks. This is one of the films that really made his name in America. Definitely an underrated gem, an extremely underrated gem, where Hauer plays the terrorist villain trying to wreak havoc, and his rivals in it are the great man himself, one of my favourites, Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams. That's right, Lando Calrissian and Rocky Balboa are two buddy cops versus Rutger Hauer. I mean, how can you go wrong with that film alone? It's not even an underrated film for Rutger Hauer. It's an underrated film for Sylvester Stallone. It's definitely a film worth checking out. Nighthawks, worth a watch. Now, it's a bit obscure, but manga fans of the hit manga itself, an anime, Berserk, might or might not be aware that Rutger Hauer was actually the inspiration for the main hero from Berserk, Guts. If you've heard of the movie Blood of Heroes, but better known as Salute to the Jugger, which is known everywhere around the world except for America, where it's called Blood of Heroes. This was the film that inspired the character Guts. The design, the loss of the eye, the headwear. It's definitely it's like Mad Max meets a sports film in a way. It's kind of weird, but Rutger Hauer, his presence in the film makes it all worthwhile. And the fact that he inspired one of my most favorite characters in anime manga history of Guts, I owe him everything for that, because this character, I have his goddamn bloody mark tattooed on my back. That's how much I love the character. And last but not least, of course, how can we not talk about it? Roy Batty from Blade Runner. And do I really need to go into details about this character in this movie? I mean, please, if I do, stop right here. Go watch Blade Runner. Go watch its sequel, Blade Runner 2049. Hauer's speech at the end of Blade Runner, his monologue, is one of the greatest uttered in movie history. And look, that's no exaggeration. If people question that thinking it's complete bullshit, then please, you need to go rewatch that scene again. The visuals, the speech itself, everything in that scene is amazing. The fact that he's holding the white dove, that was all Rutger Hauer himself. He came up with all that shit, and his performance in that film will last forever. I mean, he may be gone, but that scene with Roy Batty at the end, there's no doubt, will be played for years and years to come now. And it's like the whole thing when Stallone said when he dies, he's going to have that iconic shot of Rocky on the stairs with his hands raised. Rutger Hauer's going to have Roy Batty in that speech, and for that he will always be remembered. So that's it, people. He'll always be a person remembered for the work that he did. The fact that he was in some B-level films, but always put an A-class level. To sum up his life, I mean, who could say it better than the man himself?
All those moments will be lost in time. Like tears in rain.
Rutger Hauer, you'll never be lost to us.